The lack of affordable housing is becoming a serious issue, particularly in the GTA. And other than plans around the Greenbelt, can you discuss anything else that you're doing to expedite new housing?
Well, first of all, I'd like to get a definition of affordable housing, because what are we talking about? Are we talking about government-run housing, or are we talking about housing that can be afforded by new residents? So I think it's important to differentiate those.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Mark. There is affordable housing and housing affordability in a sense. So they may be perceived as two different things, and our government is committed to both. I think we definitely need to have some more co-op housing. And that's why in Bill 23, we have reduced or eliminated the development charges on builders that are actually building nonprofits in this province. So, for example, the Habitat for Humanity has been very supportive of Bill 23, which reduces significantly the development charges on affordable housing. That is critically important to our province because the development charges right now in an average house can be well over $100,000, and that adds a substantial amount to people buying their own homes. But also, as I mentioned, co-op housing and affordable housing for people that are on a lower income. And as I say, Habitat for Humanity and other nonprofits are very supportive of what we've been doing to encourage building in that space.
And may I just jump in here too? You know, I hear from constituents frequently about how their sons or daughters want to be able to come back into our community and live here and have their families here. And they're just unable at this point to afford coming back into the community where they were raised. That's a real challenge for young families. And so how can we actually encourage all kinds of housing, as Stephen says, affordable, not-for-profit, but also different kinds of housing that will meet the different needs of families and their sizes. They say that the average house price in the Oakville area this past December is $1.5 million. And in Burlington, it's over $1 million. Some of that cost is directly related to the development charges that the municipalities are in fact charging. Some say that it might be as much as Stephen said, over $100,000. That could be a down payment. So we have to look at ways right across the board to be able to provide more housing, including rental accommodation. We have to be able to encourage builders to build rental accommodation, and they're not going to do that if the development charges are too high.
And so that requires the province to be partnering with the various municipalities. And I've heard, Stephen, that the municipalities are really objecting to this. So how is that going to be smoothed over to encourage the private sector to be building houses?
Well, I mean, I think some municipal politicians are not too thrilled, to your point. But I think once we've had a chat with them, Minister Clark and the Premier, I think in many cases they've done a little bit of a change in terms of perhaps how they perceive things. I mean, Minister Clark sent a letter to all the big mayors last week suggesting that each town and city will be left whole by the changes that we're bringing about. So I think that brought about some stability to some of their concerns about that. But at the end of the day, Mark, we need to have the municipalities on side. There's been many cases where municipalities have been holding back. The development charges have been going up a lot more substantially than the actual costs of building infrastructure. And that money's just building up in bank accounts for some municipalities. And that's putting an additional cost and burden on newcomers, on immigrants, on young buyers to be able to buy a property. And we need to make it more affordable. So we've got to be crystal clear here that we need to move through and reduce the cost and the impact on new buyers, because it's simply unaffordable right now for the mass majority of people in this province. We all know house prices have gone up substantially more than income. And we know that there's more and more immigrants, newcomers coming to this province, as Effie suggested. So we have to do something now. Otherwise, this problem's just going to compound.